Welcome to Project Possible. This is Gito David here, and today's topic is what is landlord insurance? So, we're going to cover 12 top tips on landlord insurance. And the last one will be a bonus tip for all of you who will stay till the end. So, what's the first tip? So, whenever you are going to call the insurer, you need to have this basic information handy with you. The full address of the property, including the postcode. How old is your property? Yeah, so when it was built, how many rooms you have in that property? Type of property, is it a semi-detached or is it a detached or terraced house, okay, or a bungalow, whatever it is. Type of tenant you are going to have. So is it a professional, students, families? You need to let them know. And if you don't have a tenant, you need to know who are going to move in, the potential tenants. Now, these are the basic factors which will determine the insurance premium of the policy. So the basic premium, okay? So all this information is very vital and you have to provide that to the insurer before they can at least start your quote. The second tip is when you're calling the insurer, you need to inform them your property is a buy-to-let or a HMO, house of multiple occupancy. The reason is most of the insurance company, they will provide insurance for buy-to-let, BTL. But a lot of the companies do not provide insurance for HMO, house of multiple occupancy. You need specialist insurance companies to do that for you. Yeah, so that's the reason when you pick up the phone, make sure that you are giving this particular information about your property. The third tip, you need to have the claim history handy. Okay, so if you have multiple properties, make sure that you inform them the claim history or the history of that particular property. Okay, so at least for 3 to 5 years, records is always handy. Some insurers, they will ask for an email. Some insurers, they have it on records. So make sure that you have a good understanding of what type of claim it was, how much it was claimed, things like that. Which insurance company, those things are important. Tip number 4, additional cover. So when you're taking a landlord insurance, along with the insurance, there are other things which you can add on, and they're very important. The first one is content insurance. The simple example is if you put the property upside down, whatever falls down is a content. Yeah. So, and you need to make sure that it is insured. Malicious damage, drainage, plumbing. Those are the things which happens in the property now and then. And it is important that you get insured for all these things. Now, on top of it, there are 2 other things which you need to add on. One is a legal cover. So if you are going to put tenants into the property, and if something goes wrong and you need a legal advice or a legal help, then that's a very costly affair. So it's very important that you have a legal cover, minimum up to 50,000. Some insurance company will give you higher. Okay, so go for it. Then comes the loss of rent. As a landlord, you don't want to have losing your rent. And most of the insurance companies will give you 12 months rent. So in case if your tenant is not able to pay the rent for any reason, you can claim with the insurance company and you can receive rent for at least 12 months. Now, a lot of mortgage company or the lenders are really happy as a landlord if you have that kind of insurance cover in place for all your property. That shows that you are well prepared for any financial crisis or cash flow issues in your property. So if you have any property void, any rooms are void, you are well covered. So that's very important. Then comes that tip number 5, always get the quote from at least 3 insurance companies. So if you have a really good broker, what that broker will do is he or she will give you at least 3 different quotes from different insurance company with different track records, but make sure they're apple to apple comparison. And so it's always good to study that, have that on your mind, 3 quotes whenever you're going for an insurance. Tip number 6, always get the policy checked by your solicitor or your lender or both. So what happens is, what I normally do is I get the quote for the policy, email that quote over to the solicitor, they go through it, they are happy, they send it to the lender, lender goes through it, they both say happy, and then I go to my insurance broker and say that, please make that policy live, active. Okay, so that's what the normal practice I do. So keep that in mind. Tip number 7, you have 14 days from the policy issue date to make any changes if needed. So in case if you have not done what I have just mentioned in tip number 6, that what you need to know is you have 14 days. Get it checked by the solicitor, by the lender. You go through it personally. What are the conditions to keep the policy in compliance? So make sure that if you have any changes to be made, it should be done in the first 14 days. After that, it might be too late. Tip number 8, the sum insured for the property. It should be sufficient, not average or below average. It should be sufficient. What do you mean by that? For every property, there is a brick and mortar value, and this value you can find when the property is surveyed by a surveyor. In that report from the surveyor, you will see a brick and mortar value for the property. So what you need to do is insure more than the brick and mortar value. So for example, if the valuation came out to be 500,000, you value it for 600 or 700,000 and get it insured. So when it comes to the claim, you are well covered. Tip number 9, let the insurance company know if any changes you have made in the property. So if you have converted your loft into a room, you want to build an additional income out of that room, let the insurer know that you have made those changes. The roof, is it flat? If you have made any changes. So all those information, like the chimney is being removed from the room, from the house, all those changes need to be informed to the insurer. This all matters when it comes to the claim. Tip number 10, comply all the policies conditions within the policy. The reason why it is so important is taking an insurance is one thing, but staying compliant throughout the policy time is another thing. So some of the properties need electrical testing, gas certification. Make sure all those things are in place and you have not fallen away or all those certificates are not expired. Keep on top of it, because when it comes to claim, all these things will be important and relevant. Tip number 11, very important, you should have an insurance broker who should be really good. A good company, a good broker is really important. Now, when it comes to property, we hire best solicitors, we hire best estate agents, we buy the best property. But when it comes to insurance, I have seen some of the investors or property developers becomes a little bit not sure about it. But it's very important that you have a very good insurance broker in your power team. And the people who have stayed till the end, that's the tip number 12, the bonus point. If you're going for a landlord insurance, make sure you take an annual premium. The reason is, if you're going for a monthly premium, it will attract certain taxes. That means you're paying a higher premium. But if you're going for an annual premium, you will get a heavy discount and you will not be attracted to those taxes. And that's how you will save some money on your insurance. Now, whatever I have shared with you guys is just my experience over the last few years as a landlord and what I have learned from my power team. And this is what I do when it comes to the landlord insurance. Now, what I'll highly recommend you is at Project Possible, we have a monthly live expert session, which happens once in a month. And an expert from the industry, they come and share their experience, how to stay compliant, how to make sure that you are fully insured, what is an adequate insurance, and all those things in detail. So make sure you register yourself and become a participant of Project Possible. The link is in the description, in the detail. Yeah? And make sure you join those live events where you can ask Q&A, question and answer session with the expert live online. Okay, and you will get those. If you have any further questions, it will be answered. Now, for now, what I'll suggest is, if you had a good experience or a bad experience, if you have a really good broker, an insurance broker who you know, put it in the comment. So people who are watching this, especially the property investors and developers, they will benefit from it. So for now, thank you for watching and see you at Project Possible.